Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we are going to be making Cowboy Candy. This has been a very highly requested recipe of mine. Whenever I make this, people just really enjoy it. So I'm going to show you how I make it. This also ties in with another recipe of ours that we showed you earlier about how I make my breakfast burritos. So I like to use this in there. It brings a lot of awesome flavor. You can use this for many other things. Burgers are great, the sauce is great, it's just, you can use it forever. So, this is how we are going to make it. First, make sure you get your gloves, because nothing is worse than accidentally touching your face after you've had some jalapenos and crying for about 4 hours afterwards. Take it from me, I know firsthand. So, gloves. Now this recipe that I'm showing you here, it uses about 3 pounds of your jalapenos, which equals about 60 jalapenos. So if you have an abundance this fall, absolutely do this. Now, of course, it goes by weight, not necessarily by the number, so you're going to want to kind of judge that for yourself. You may not get these nice big large ones, you may have a little bit smaller ones in yours, that's okay. I'm going to be making this mild because I have kids that can't handle the heat, but if you would like this to be spicy, by all means, we can do it that way. I'm going to show you the mild way. So I'm going to be taking out the seeds and the membrane because that is where the heat is. So I've chopped off the top. I'm going to slice kind of through the side, just you can see, not all the way through, and then I'm just going to roll it. We're just going to roll it as I cut so that I can get the seeds and membrane out. This is the way I like to do it. It's easy and fast for me. If you know a better way, by all means use your way. But yeah, I'm taking out the seeds for my family. Now, it is faster if you like it spicier. You'll just chop off the tops, slice. You leave everything in there and away you go. You don't need to do all this extra step. If you want it spicy, by all means do that. So I'm going to make mine into strips since it's already kind of started that way. And then I'm going to just dice them up into pieces about like that. Also, you're going to want to make sure that you do this in a ventilated area. Make sure that you have a window open or a fan blowing, or, I mean, heavens, if it's great weather, do it outside. Because the fumes are sometimes a little too strong and they will get you. So be mindful of that as well. I learned my first time to just be careful where my head was, because if it's right over your pot, you're gonna be crying for a minute. I have found that if I leave a little bit of membrane in, it's just fine. It's not gonna make us cry. If I have a little bit of seeds fall in, it's okay as well. I do like a little bit of the heat. Sometimes it does end up being too mild. It depends on where you get your jalapenos from, or if you grow them, or if you what kind of soil it's around. Some are extra spicy, some are not so spicy. I'm okay with a little heat sneaking in there. You want to know that they're jalapenos. You want to know that you didn't just chop up a bell pepper, right? All right, we're going to add all this to the rest. All right, now first things first, just so you know, this is a recipe with a lot of sugar. You want to use real sugar for this because you can can this, you can preserve this. In order to do so, you have to have the right amount of acid and sugar and salt and all that kind of stuff. So do not miss this step because it will go bad faster. If you want to experiment and do other things, we're making a syrup, first of all, and you kind of need to do it that way. However, I don't know everything, so if there is somebody out there that knows how to make a better syrup that will preserve well, by all means try that. I'm not familiar with one, so I'm going to stick to what I know, which is this. Okay, don't have a heart attack. Like I said, it's a lot. This is 6 cups of sugar, y'all, the real thing. So we're gonna add that in there. And I have 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. There's 1. Here's 2. Right there. Now when that gets cooking and boiling, your whole house is gonna smell it. So like I said, ventilation is key. We are going to add about a teaspoon of celery seed and a teaspoon, because I absolutely love this, has so many health benefits, we're gonna add some turmeric. And there is the teaspoon. Give it a good stir. You're gonna wanna make sure this goes to a boil, okay? So we're gonna make that all melt. Make sure all of your sugar doesn't burn at the bottom, so get that a quick stir. Once it begins to boil, I will meet you back here. Okay. Okay, so this has been, we're all dying in here, sorry. This has been boiling for about 5 minutes. If you can tell, it has made this nice little syrup here. It's gotten a little bit thicker on its own. If you leave this out for a little bit longer, and this spoon happens to cool, it will start to kind of drip a little bit, and you'll see it's more sticky than just liquid. Now we get to add our jalapenos in. Be very gentle. Be very careful with this one, please, because you don't want hot sugar to get on you. Nasty burns and stuff. So be very careful. You can split this up into smaller batches also. You don't have to do the full 3 pounds all at once. In fact, I generally do the smaller batches just because I like that. I feel like there's more control over your outcome, but we only wanted to burn our eyes once today, so here we are. Okay, yeah. All right, now we're going to let this come back up to a boil, and we are going to simmer it for 4 minutes exactly. Watch your time. All right, so this has been burning us out here for the next, for the last 4 minutes. I am going to leave the heat where it's at, but we're going to very carefully take, I've got a slotted spoon, and I'm gonna kind of just drain this out slightly and get our jalapenos out of there. We're gonna continue to boil the liquid because the jalapenos released quite a bit of their own liquid. Now this probably isn't as bad for us as it will be for you if you like it spicy, because that's just gonna get airborne. So just be very careful and have lots of ventilation. Boiling vinegar kind of burns you out on its own anyway, but all right, I'm not too worried about the rest of those, but we'll set that off to the side, let it kind of cool just a little bit. Now, this is the point where if you're going to can them, you would actually be putting them in a can, in your canning jars instead of in a bowl. I'm going to be freezing these, and so I'm just dumping it all into one because that's how I'm going to process it. But if you're going to put them in cans, this is when you would be putting them in the cans, and then putting, after you've boiled your liquids for another 6 minutes, you would be ladling that on top of your cans, sealing them up, and doing your canning process there, shelf stable for like, I think 3 years. So this, however, I just like to pop them in my freezer because I'm lazy and I don't have the storage space for cans. So that's how we do it here. I will be putting them in some freezer safe bags. That's how I keep mine. All right, we're gonna let it do its thing for just a few more minutes, and then we're gonna add our syrup back into our jalapeno pieces, let them cool, and then we'll store them. All right, so this has been boiling for 6 minutes. It's still a little bit syrupy, but it's going to thicken as it cools down. I'm going to scoot this up here real close and ladle in the liquid. Now again, if you were doing jars, this is when you would top off your jars with the liquid. I'm only doing this instead of pouring the whole thing in because I'm not going to use the entire batch of liquid. I'm going to save some of the liquid for other things like you know, marinades or burgers or dipping sauces and things like that. We don't necessarily need the whole thing. You can if you'd like, but because I'm freezing it, I don't need to necessarily use the whole amount. So I'll probably use about just like that, because I need some still. Maybe just a tiny little bit more, tiny more. Okay, that's about it. The rest of this is going to get cooled down completely. I'm going to bag that up separately just as my extra jalapeno juice. It is liquid gold, trust me on that one. There's so many things you can do. This I'm going to again cool down and put in my freezer bags. And when I say freezer bags, I'm not talking about the Ziploc freezer bags. I'm talking about actual like vacuum seal bags. You know, make sure that they're heat protected and that they're absolutely sealed perfectly, and they're not gonna bust open on you. So we're gonna let that cool down, and then we're done. That's it. Package them up, seal them up, pop them in. So if you have an abundance of jalapenos, this is one thing that you probably will get some food storage out of. Otherwise, it actually goes very quickly once you realize how addicting it is on everything. And I don't say that lightly. Yeah. And there you have it. If you try this, let me know how it turns out for you. If you have any adjustments or questions, if you've made this in the past and you have your own little tweaks, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.